Hello, my fellow modeling and tabletop gaming enthusiasts, and welcome to this week's Conflikt Catch-Up. Sorry I missed this week's normal weekly episode. I have been busy, all kinds of stuff going on, so I just didn't have time to record anything. So we're back for the Conflikt Catch-Up, which, oddly enough, there isn't any new news yet this week. But with just 2 weeks left until the release, we might not get too much more. We'll see. But in the meantime, there are starting to be even more examples of the new models out in the wild, all painted up. There are now several battle reports out there. I believe Max at Barefoot Miniatures is working on at least his second, if not his third, battle report out there. Morty and Glory has one out there as well, so definitely check those out. And it's my understanding that they're finalizing the army list now, so I'm very excited to see the army lists. I've seen a little bit of the rules, which led me to a discovery that I have a lot of extra work to do. So let's yeah, so we're gonna just kind of talk about what I've got going on this week. So first things first, I decided to paint up some of my pin markers. Not strictly necessary, but the fact that they have, dials on the faces, I decided, and I'd seen it somewhere else, someone painted them black and then colored the numbers white. So what I did is I've got some in OD green with yellow lettering, and then the other ones are German gray with red lettering. So I've got 12 of each like this, so that's pretty neat. And I've got at least 12 more pin markers still on the sprue. And then I'll be getting a bunch more with, my pre-order stuff that should be arriving, should be shipping pretty soon. Then a lot of work on models as well, in addition to the commission stuff I'm working on. So first things first, we've got a Fallstrom Yogurt command team that I briefly talked about before. These guys are all painted, they're glossed, so I can do an oil wash, and then we'll be about done. Next up, we've got a Mud Skipper. Yay, Mud Skipper, Jump Walker. So it's the green's all on, I put the decals on, so then I can paint over some of the decals. So I decided that kind of the backstory for at least a portion of my Marine Army is going to be Paramarines, because I'm going to have a lot of Fireflies, like 24 Fireflies or something like that. And I'm going to have 3 linebackers. I got the Mud Skipper, 2 Jackals. So what I decided to do to repurpose some of the minis that I'd painted previously and put U.S. Army decals on was that it was old retired equipment that was seconded from the Army to the Marines. So without having to strip it and repaint it, what I did was just use the same green that I used for my Marine camo scheme, painted over those decals just kind of hastily, and then just put new USMC stencils over them, which I thought, it's like, that's cool, awesome, I got a story there. So I kind of felt I had to do the same with my Mud Skipper. It's like, okay, this is old surplus to requirement airborne equipment, so we're going to give it to the Marines, let them do what they want with it. So they'll fix it up, don't necessarily have time to repaint it, so they just slap on a new serial number. So that's why this one's not in camo like my Pond Skaters or my Sherman. I think when I get the linebackers, though, I am going to do those in the camo scheme, just to be like, okay, we got this new top-of-the-line equipment, we're painting it in our camo scheme. Heck yeah. Kind of like, so the same camo scheme that I did with my Hornet, which I'm still not entirely sure if I'm ever actually going to be able to use or not. We'll see. So that's coming along pretty well. It's about ready to start kind of the first initial stages of weathering, so that's going to be pretty neat. I did magnetize the arm weapons, so he can either have the dual rocket launchers or the heavy machine guns on his arms, so I can swap those out at will. Then, of course, I've got my M17 Tesla cannon in progress. So again, it's painted the same time as the Mud Skipper. It's got decals on, so I put a little decal on the side here, just give it a little flavor. And then it's got the USMC and the serial number stencil on it. The Mud Skipper does have a little bit of nose art on it. I decided I wanted all of my walkers to have some sort of nose art, because they're kind of like pilots. So yeah, give them some nose art. And then, of course, to go along with the M17, we've got the crew in power armor. Only one of them, I took the stock head off and put a plastic marine helmet on. It was just too much work. I didn't want to go into. And then I do have little District Miniatures 5th Marine Division decals on their shoulders. So that's kind of been the focus of things so far. So I learned last weekend, that all of the work I've done on my bases, almost all the work I've done on my bases so far is wrong, because they're all on the wrong size bases. And yes, it does make a difference. I ask. So I'm always kind of used to, with Heresy, my understanding was as long as you didn't put them on a smaller base, you could put them on a slightly larger base if you wanted to. It wasn't a big deal. So I had all of my infantry mounted on 30 millimeter bases from Cobalt Keep. So they make a really nice, the reason I went with Cobalt Keep is because they come pre-manufactured for a slot for a magnet, because I wanted to magnetize my bases. And trying to modify the Warlord plastic bases with metal minis and stuff was just, it was going to be way too much of a chore. So I just bought a bunch of these, probably like 140 these 30 millimeter lipped bases. I like the lip. It's like the Warlord one, so you got something to contain that extra stuff. Well, yeah, now I got to put them all on 25s. And yes, the 5 mil difference is noticeable. So I ordered 100 of these 20 mil bases. They don't have the lip. They're kind of like the GW style. I don't like them as much, but I couldn't find a 25 millimeter lipped base that, could work with magnets as easily. You can order these with or without the magnets. I ordered them with. Oddly enough, the 25 and the 30 mil bases use a different size magnet. So, yeah. So I've got probably 80 of these 30 mil bases, lipped 30 mil bases, now surplus. I had a bunch of 25 mil bases sitting around. I stuck magnets on those, so I'll have a few extras sitting around. But now I got to start rebasing everything. For some of it for the second time. So certain things like my Shrek Wolfman are on 40 millimeter bases already, so they're good. I don't have to make any changes to those. I did have to order some 32 millimeter bases for things like the Stahltruppen that I'm going to be getting. So yeah. I've started, so I've got to scrape off all the basing stuff, which I'm doing my best to keep as much of it as possible. So I've got a little container here. Yeah, so I started with the Germans, and I'm just putting all of the... So I use the Kraut Cover Scenics, A Tale of Grimdark basing material for that. So I'm trying to keep all of that, because it's a little tougher to get. I've got an order in, but I haven't, as of a couple of days ago, but I haven't heard if it's shipped yet or not. Because when I originally ordered it, I ordered it directly from Germany, and of course now I'd have to pay the tariffs on it, and it's the whole thing. So, yeah, trying to save all of that, as much of that as I can, because I counted between both the Axis and the Americans, I've got like 83 bases that I need to redo. So, yeah. And along with that, I ordered like 3 new packages of the Frontline Games Jungle Floor Scenic Mix. And again, I'm going to try and save as much of that as I can when I scrape everything off the bases. So pretty much when I finish the commission job I'm working on, that's what I'm just going to go full speed into redoing the bases so I can get these ready to go. I mean, so for friendly games, it probably wouldn't matter a whole lot. Where it kind of matters is, when you have to use a template. So, I also painted up my template. I'll use this for my US. Ooh, blue Tesla. Woohoo. Because if you got larger bases, you can't get your guys quite as close together, even though you have to maintain formation and all that good stuff. But, yeah, so I'm going to put them on the correct bases. The other thing is, I want to play at, like at Adepticon, and there might be like official sponsored events. And it would be really, a bummer and kind of embarrassing to show up with, a fully painted army and you've got the wrong bases, so then you can't play. I don't know if that's how it would go, but I'd rather avoid that situation myself by, making sure that I'm on the correct bases. And the base sizes are listed in the unit entries, so it's pretty clear what base size it should be. So this is on me for not really doing my research and just being like, oh, hey, this looks cool, and then spending like 140 bases, but like maybe 60 bucks on bases. So it's nobody's fault but my own. So it's just it's just kind of humorous. It's like, oh, I'm glad I found out now, so I can rectify this before it becomes an issue. So yeah, but that's kind of what's been on the bench this week. That's what I'm going to be doing for the next week or two. And then probably before long, I'll be getting that pre-order in and really diving into stuff, finding out how things work. Got to teach my buddy how to play so we can start playing. So yeah. Well, but that about covers it for the conflict catch up this week. We'll kind of see what else we get in the next few weeks. I do have some terrain that's going to be arriving soon, some World War II themed terrain from Blacksite Studios. So that's going to be pretty exciting. So that might be what we showcase next week. So, yep. Like I mentioned before, there are definitely some battle reports out there now, which is really cool. Some really good videos out there. I know Tabletop Command Post has some. Like I said, Morty and Glory has like a 2-hour-long battle report out there. And then again, Max at Barefoot Miniatures has got it. Like I said, he's going to be putting out at least his second, possibly even working on his third already. So definitely go check out Max at Barefoot Miniatures. So, yeah. Other news. Sunday, the USS Cobia left Manitowoc for Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin for the shipyard. So she is in dry dock right now. I've seen a few pictures on their Facebook page. You know, the underwater portion of the hull was completely covered in mussels. So obviously probably one of the first priorities is to get all those cleaned off. So that is really exciting that they did get her to dry dock. So if anyone is watching, did donate to that, thank you so much. You know, it's really cool to keep something like that in such good condition and be able to do that every so often as needed. So again, thank you. So yeah, also thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Check out all those links down below for social media, Wisconsin Maritime Museum, as well as my Warlord Games affiliate link. And as always, if you feel so inclined, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think, what you're looking forward to, what you're excited about with Conflict 47, and all that stuff. I'd love to hear it. So thank you very much, folks. And until next time, may your paints be thin, your brushes be pointy, and your dice be hot.